Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So we are just 1 month away from the 2024 cost of living adjustment for all Social Security beneficiaries to be announced. So we're going to be going over what you can expect whether you receive Social Security retirement, SSI, or SSDI benefits. Plus, we're going to be going over some other news in relation to Social Security and government news. So diving right into it today, we have a tweet from the White House. They said we've now gained 13.5 million jobs under President Biden with 187,000 last month. That monthly average is higher than any president on record by far, and they go on to list Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump there. So we do have a few different things that we must mention about this chart. So first off, of course, whenever Joe Biden entered office in January of 2021, that was during kind of the end times of COVID, where we were just then starting to go back to work. Of course, we had a lot of businesses, artificially shut down because of that. So obviously there's going to be a peak, and really Biden entered office really at the best possible time. That's when they had the vaccine, when they were starting to reopen. So of course that chart in that way is just not really all that accurate. And then secondly, of course, we've also heard the Biden administration come out and bragging about the wage growth, that wages are going up, which of course we have seen because, we've had all these different employers struggle to find workers who are willing to come back. So therefore they've had to raise wages. And of course we've had Biden bragging about that. But of course, 22 over the last, out of the last 24 months, 22 of those we've actually seen inflation higher than wages. So even though wages have risen, inflation has been higher than that, meaning that even though we are seeing increased pay at work, that increased pay is still less than what inflation is going up by. So let's go ahead and listen to Steve Moore explaining why this situation really isn't all that great.
Of course, the biggest problem of all with this U.S. economy right now is that although wages have slipped a little bit above inflation in the last month, for 22 of the last 24 months, wages are behind the rate of inflation. And what that means, Sandra, is that the average family today is about $5,000 poorer today than they were when Joe Biden came into office. So he has a tough selling job to the American people to say, oh, look at all the wonderful things I've done for the economy, when most people are poor.
So Moore mentions there that people on average are $5,000 poorer upon Biden entering office. And I think a lot of people can really relate to that. The people are much worse off economically under President Biden. We've seen polling results show just that. So not really a big surprise there. And then finally, we must also mention that presidents don't exactly create jobs. So this whole notion that, presidents are in there, they're creating all these jobs, that's not exactly the truth, because it's actually Americans like you and I who go out and start businesses and then, have our businesses grow to a point where we actually have to hire employees, and then we're actually signing the paychecks, giving them money to work for us. Those are the people creating jobs, not President Biden, not President Trump, not Obama. It's the hardworking Americans like you that go out and start your own business and then go off to hire workers. And sure, presidents can make it easier to start businesses. They can, implement policies that deregulate certain industries and make it easier to start businesses and hire workers in that form. But it's not like Joe Biden is actually hiring workers and, signing the paychecks for Americans who go out and start businesses. It's the Americans who go out and start businesses, have these great ideas and implement them, and then go out and, hire workers and make this economy work, great for the American people. And then finally, of course, we also have the sad reality that a lot of people on Social Security benefits who go into retirement thinking they're never going to have to work another day in their life. Well, they start receiving their benefits, and then inflation starts taking off 8 to 10% every single year. And they're sitting there looking at their check and thinking like, this isn't really going that far. I probably have to return to work. So unfortunately, a lot of people are returning to work. And according to CNBC, 1 in 6 retirees are mulling a return to work. They say that roughly 1 in 6 retired Americans say they are mulling over whether to get a job. According to a recent study from Paychex, on average, those quote, unretiring individuals have been out of the workforce for 4 years. The top reasons cited by people surveyed for the report were, quote, personal reasons at 57%, needing more money at 53%, getting bored at 52%, feeling lonely at 45%, and inflation at 45%. Those are the top 5 reasons, and really they all go hand in hand with inflation because, it's very hard to afford anything. You're getting the bare necessities at the grocery store, maybe paying your rent and other bills that's taking place. Inflation is completely out of control. But then, of course, feeling lonely and feeling bored because, quite frankly, you don't really have any money left over after paying everything else to go out and have fun somewhere and spending money on entertainment. So that's just a sad reality that people are retiring thinking they're never going to have to work a day in their lives, and then they're having to go out and get at least part-time jobs. So, Bidenomics is not exactly doing all that great. And then, of course, they also mentioned here in this video that we're going to be playing that inflation is up nearly 16% from January of 2021 when Biden took office, and then grocery prices are also up nearly 20% since that time. Watch.
The inflation big picture telling a much different story, though. Take a look. Overall inflation is up nearly 16% from January 2021 when Biden took office to last month. Grocery prices also up nearly 20%.
So if you're looking for a stable economy, that much inflation is certainly not a great thing and not a whole lot for Joe Biden to exactly brag about. But thankfully, there is something called a COLA, or a cost of living adjustment, that they are guaranteed that they must do for Social Security beneficiaries, whether you receive retirement benefits, SSI or SSDI. So every single year where they inflate our currency and make our dollar values less and less, thankfully we are getting some of that back. Although in most years we should be getting a lot more than what we are, and that's why, according to the Senior Citizens League, over the last 20 years or so, we've lost around 40% in purchasing power, which means if you're receiving $1,200, you should actually be receiving $2,000. So even though they are giving us a little bit more because they're devaluing our currency through the COLA, it's not nearly enough as it really should be. So for 2024, they are estimating an increase of 3%. That is an estimate by the Senior Citizens League. We do have some projections as high as 3.8%, and obviously this could vary. This could be a little bit, less, and it also could be a little bit more. Now we won't know for sure until next month in October. That's when the final numbers for the CPIW are going to be released. Then we're going to be able to compare the third quarter of this year to the third quarter of last year, and we're going to know what we're going to be receiving for sure. So if it does end up being 3%, according to market, this is what we can expect for Social Security. So starting out for retirees, a projected monthly increase of $55, which is going to translate to an average 2024 benefit of $1,882. For workers with disabilities, a foreseeable monthly augmentation of $44, resulting in an average 2024 benefit of $1,527. Then finally, we have senior couples. That's going to be an increase of $89 per month, culminating in an average 2024 benefit of $3,061. For widows or widowers, a prospective monthly boost of $51, leading to an average 2024 benefit of $1,755. And finally, widows or widowers with 2 children, you can expect a monthly increase of $106, which will yield an average 2024 benefit of $3,626. Now, finally, we have SSI. So we have both individuals and couples. We're going to be going over the numbers on that. So this year in 2023, the max benefit you can receive if you're an individual receiving SSI benefits is $914, with a 3% increase. If it does end up being 3%, that is going to be boosted up to what my original number was at $941. And then finally, for couples receiving SSI, this year the max benefit is $1,371, with a 3% increase that would be boosted up to $1,412. Now, again, 3% is just the estimate. It could be either less or perhaps more. Likely it's going to be more than less at this point in time. It's certainly not guaranteed, and we're going to know a whole lot more Wednesday next week. That is when the inflation numbers for August are going to be released. So at that point, we'll have the numbers for July and for August, and then we're just going to have to wait for September's numbers, which will then be released in October. But that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you had not already, and I will see you in the next video.